Welcome to Anything Agriculture's How to ID Grasses in a Pasture. This will be a comprehensive guide to show you how easy it can be to identify grasses. Please like and subscribe to Anything Agriculture. It is important that we continue to make good content for you, so if you like and subscribe, I can continue to do that. Thank you. This video will help you identify grasses, and this will help you identify weed species or pasture species. We're going to go through the physiology of grass to help you learn how to ID. Now, don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot to learn, but with a little practice, you too will be an expert. Okay, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about growth habit. This means how the plant grows. Is it a bunching grass, which grows in clumps? You've seen this with orchard grass or tall fescue, timothy, or does it form more of a sod like Kentucky bluegrass or brome grass? This is your first identifying clue on what a grass might be. Here are some quick examples of bunch grasses. They grow in clumps. Orchard grass does this. Tall fescue does this. Timothy does this. They grow in clumps. They don't grow into a sod like a lawn, but they grow into clumps. Now, sod-forming grasses look more like your lawn, and they generally spread through rhizomes. So if you're lucky enough or you want to pull one up and you see rhizomes, good chance that you're looking at a sod-forming grass. This would be like Kentucky bluegrass or smooth brome grass. Seed heads are one of the easiest ways to tell grasses apart. Generally, seed heads of grasses, there are three types that we're looking for. We're looking for panicles, spikes, and racemes. So first we're going to talk about panicles. And panicles are loose branching seed heads like Kentucky bluegrass or orchard grass. Essentially, there is a central stem and there are other stems that fall off of it. And on there, they're usually very loose and very airy. I think they're quite pretty. Spikes are a very common one. We're very familiar with wheat, and this is exactly a wheat head, is a spike, and that is where the seeds are directly attached to the main stem, and we see this in ryegrass. Racemes are seeds that are attached along a central stem with short little stalks. You see this in barnyard grass and crabgrass. Now, next time you're in a pasture, look closely at the seed head shape, and this will reveal the species of grass you're looking for. The next way to start with identifying grasses is to look at their leaf shape and their texture. Now, it may seem a little hard at first because leaves of grass kind of look all the same, but there are very distinct differences. Some are flat and broad, some are folded, rolled, or hairy. The next way to When we talk about flat and broad leaf shape, we're talking about grasses that maybe when you were a kid, you grabbed a big wide leaf and you blew through it and it made a whistle. That's going to be a flat and broad leaf. Now, orchard grass has a big, fat, broad leaf and it has a little bit of a bluish tint. That bluish tint and that wide leaf is an identifying characteristic of orchard grass. Okay, so we're going to talk about folded leaves. There's leaves that have V shapes or creases down the center. This always looks kind of like something else did it, like either the wind twisted the leaves, like in Timothy grass, or something bent the leaves. So need to be aware of what the plant is supposed to look like and what the identifier is. So like with Timothy grass, it always looks a little twisted. It always looks like the wind did it, but all the leaves will be twisted. So next we're going to look at rolled leaves, and this is where they'll be kind of rolled long ways or cylindrical or curled. Kentucky bluegrass kind of looks like this. It kind of has a boat shape to the tip of its leaf, and that's its identifier. So when we're looking at hairy leaves, and like in this picture, this is a tall fescue, you can have hair actually on one side of the leaf or on both sides of the leaf. Tall fescue is covered in little hairs, and its identifying factor is that the leaves are held very stiffly at 90-degree angles from the stem. All right, so the final check for grass identification is ligules and auricles. And as you can see in the picture here, the ligule is like a little piece of membrane, and you get that when you bend back a piece of grass and show it. And the auricle is a piece of leaf that actually wraps around or partially around the stem. Now, ligules, that membranous piece, can be membranous, it can be large, it can be small, it can be non-existent, or it can be hairy, like in barnyard grass. Here you can see that the arrow is pointing to the ligule, and that is that membranous place. So when you bend back a piece of grass, you can see a ligule or not a ligule. That is all identifiers for different types of grass. This particular ligule is kind of membranous and ragged, and that is very common in orchard grass. Now, barnyard grass has no ligule, and that is its identifier when you're looking at ligules to say, okay, it doesn't have a ligule at all. Which grasses are those? And that's generally barnyard grass. Okay, let's talk about auricles. The difference between a ligule and an auricle is an auricle will wrap around the stem, where ligule is on the back side of the stem and attached to the leaf. It looks like a little small ear. It wraps around the stem. This particular one is on quackgrass, and it's very distinct because it's very large. Now that I've given you the basics of pasture grass ID, you can go out and start identifying grasses. It takes a little time and practice to be able to be really good at identifying the grasses that are on your property. But once you do that, you can identify weed species and other problems that might arise with other grass species. And you can also decide what you have in your pastures so that you know what you should be able to mix with it. Remember, observe the growth habit, seed head, leaf shape, and collar region, and these clues will make it easier for you to identify the grasses. Now, I bet you want to go out and explore the grasses around you and see if you can ID them. Good luck. Have a good time. I hope you found this helpful for your small farm homesteading dreams. And as always, please like and subscribe to Anything Agriculture so I can continue to make content that matter to you.